Today we're checking out some of the best cases available for the Galaxy S23 FE. I'll leave a link down below with everything covered in today's video, so let's go ahead and get started. First one up is the official silicone case by Samsung. This one comes in a couple different colors. The one shown here is graphite. Actually has a really soft felt-like material on the inside. Fairly rigid as well. Doesn't really flex much. Pretty simple to just snap on to the phone. Looks like you've got just enough screen protection all the way around. Also has a soft touch feel pretty much on all sides. Just has some really nice grip to it. Also has the Samsung logo down there towards the bottom. Power and volume buttons are covered by the silicone material and they stick out plenty so you can feel where they're located without looking. Also has just enough clickiness to the buttons as well. Perfect cutouts for the cameras on the back and the flash. There's just enough protection so you don't have to worry about those getting all scratched up. It's got a nice and large opening for the charging port as well. The case itself weighs about 38 grams. Weighs in at 248 grams with the case on. And of course, it's going to work with wireless charging. Definitely a nice, simple silicone case for the S23 FE. If you've ever watched my case videos, you probably knew that the Silicone ThinFit case was going to be included. It's usually right at the top of the list for most phones that I've tested, and it's no different with this one. It's got a nice smooth TPU texture to it. It's really nice and rigid as well. More of a softer TPU around the edges. It's got plenty of screen protection going all the way around. Power and volume buttons stick out plenty. They're also covered by the TPU material. They've got a little more clickiness to them than the official silicone case from Samsung. It's got an extra large opening for the charging port. It's got a pretty simple design here on the back. You'll notice the camera cutout is a little bit different on this one, where it's just one big opening versus 3 separate ones. That concerns me a little bit. I feel like more dirt and dust could get in there, but it does look pretty good design-wise. You've also got a nice lip that goes around the cameras as well. One of the lighter cases, only 30 grams for the case itself. Weighs in at 240 grams with the case on. Not sure if the grip on this one is quite as good as the official Samsung silicone case, but it does feel good in the hand. And yeah, still one of my favorite cases from Silicone. And of course, it's gonna work with wireless charging. One of my favorite cases from Poetic is the Neon series. This one comes in 3 different colors: orange, military green, and the one shown here is black. This one has military standard drop protection. You've got a softer silicone on the inside with a hard plastic shell on the back. The silicone material does have a little bit of play there on the edge. Not too bad though. It's got just enough screen protection on all sides. Power and volume buttons are covered by the silicone material. I also like that they separate the volume buttons. There's really not much clickiness to the buttons. In fact, you can barely hear them, but they do seem to work pretty good and they stick out far enough so you can feel where they're located without really looking. It's got a large opening for the charging port on the bottom. Fairly good lip going around the cameras on the back as well. You've also got these little silicone parts that stick out on the back. Definitely helps give it a little extra grip. The plastic here on the back's a rougher texture. I kind of like that as well. Makes it feel a little more rugged. I know some people may not want an orange stripe, but overall, pretty nice design in my opinion. Weighs in at 58 grams for the case itself. Weighs in at about 268 grams with the case on. And even though this is a little thicker, still works with wireless charging. Overall, a nice rugged case that's still fairly slim. Another rugged case, but yet still fairly slim, is the Tough Armor case by Silicone. This one comes in 2 different colors, abyss green, and the one shown here is black. This one also has military standard drop protection. This one's nice and rigid. You've got a softer TPU on the inside, harder plastic shell on the back. This one's a really nice and snug fit. Also has some nice screen protection on all sides. This one might be my favorite power button. I just like how they have the little ridges on there. Makes it easy to find. It's just a little more satisfying to use versus some of the others. The volume buttons have some nice clickiness to them. Definitely some of the easier buttons to use. It's got an extra large cutout for the charging port. You can see they're going with one large opening for the cameras. Design wise, I think it looks good. Just not sure if dirt and lint are gonna get in there. You also have a built-in metal kickstand. It gives you two different angles when in the stand position. Even though this case is a little thicker, it's still gonna work with wireless charging. So it's a little bit heavier at 56 grams for the case itself. Weighs in at 270 grams with the case on. Overall, a nice rugged, fairly thin case. Sort of a toss-up for me between this one and the Poetic Neon series. Now, if you're just looking for a clear case, I feel like the Rinky Fusion is one of the better options out there. Comes in 3 different versions: smoke black, clear, and the one shown here is a matte clear. You can see it's just a little more frosted there on the back. Really nice and snug fit. Does have a little bit of flex there on the sides, not much though. Just enough screen protection on the sides. It's got extra on the corners. They do a really nice job with the power and volume buttons. It's got a little bit of texture on the power. There's some nice clickiness to the buttons, and they stick out plenty, so they're easy to locate. It's a really nice and large opening for the charging port as well. You're still gonna get some fingerprints on the back, but not quite as much as a regular clear case with the matte texture on the back. I feel like there could be a little more protection for the cameras on the back, but I do like that it's separate cutouts versus just one large opening. Weighs in at 30 grams for the case itself, 240 grams with the case on. And of course, it's gonna work with wireless charging. So if you don't wanna hide the back of your phone, this one's definitely a nice option from Rinky. Now, this is one of the few cases I've seen where it actually covers the cameras on the back. This is the Optic Armor by Spigen. Comes in 2 different colors, black, or the one shown here is Abyss Green. Overall, pretty flexible TPU material. Probably one of the easier cases to put on. Really nice and snug fit, just enough screen protection all the way around. The power and volume buttons are covered by the TPU material. Not a whole lot of clickiness to these, but they do seem to work pretty good. Really nice and large opening for the charging port. It's got a rougher texture here on the back, more smooth on the sides. I feel like the design looks pretty good on this one. I feel like it could be a little bit grippier, but not bad overall. Seems like it's pretty easy to open and close the cover on the back. And then of course, this is gonna be probably the best protection for your cameras on the back. Pretty good protection even when the cover is open. Weighs in at 50 grams for the case itself. Weighs in at 262 grams with the case on. And of course it works with wireless charging. You just have to make sure you've got it in the right spot. You pretty much have to have the charger all the way against the cover area, but it does seem to work pretty good. Overall, pretty nice quality as expected from Spigen. And it's definitely more unique than some of the other cases out there. Now, one of the thinnest cases available is the Liquid Air case by Spigen. It comes in matte black or Abyss Green. As you can see, a really flexible TPU material. It's probably going to be one of the easiest cases to put on. Because it's so flexible, it does have a little bit of play there on the sides. Oversized cutout for the charging port. It's got some nice texture there on the power button, and they stick out plenty so they're easy to locate. Pretty nice clickiness to the buttons as well. Just enough protection for the cameras on the back. You can also see the diamond pattern on the back. You don't really feel them that much, just has a matte finish to it, but overall the case does have pretty good texture. Weighs in at 34 grams for the case itself. Weighs in at 244 grams with the case on. And of course, it's gonna work with wireless charging. The only thing I would probably change is making separate cutouts for the cameras on the back, but overall, pretty nice case by Spigen.
So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.